More and more foreign men are choosing Filipinas for relationships. They say love here is different, more genuine, more loyal, and more fulfilling. But is it really that simple? What makes Filipinas stand out, and is this the right choice for you? Today, we'll explore why so many men are coming to the Philippines for love and what you need to know before taking that step. Many foreign men, especially those from Western countries, feel frustrated with modern dating culture in their home countries. They say relationships have become complicated, filled with unrealistic expectations, endless games, and a lack of appreciation for traditional roles. They feel like they have to work too hard just to gain attention, and even then, they are unsure if the woman they are dating truly values them. They hear stories about divorce rates, expensive legal battles, and relationships that feel more like competitions than partnerships. For them, love has become exhausting. Then, they learn about the Philippines. They hear that dating here is completely different. Filipinos have a reputation for being loving, devoted, and deeply committed to their relationships. Unlike the women they are used to, Filipinos seem to prioritize their partners. They take care of their man, they show affection openly, and they make their love known without hesitation. Foreign men see this and think, this is what I've been missing. When they arrive in the Philippines, everything seems to confirm their expectations. From the moment they step off the plane, they notice how friendly people are. Women smile at them, approach them, and seem genuinely interested in talking. Unlike in the West, where dating can feel like a competition, here, it feels easy. Many men say that for the first time in their lives, they feel truly appreciated. It does not take long before they meet a Filipina who completely changes their idea of love. She calls him love, or honey, after just a few days. She checks on him constantly, making sure he has eaten, slept well, and is feeling okay. She prepares his favorite meals, holds his hand in public, and showers him with affection. She does not play games or keep him guessing. She is direct, expressive, and open with her emotions. For a foreign man who is used to dating women who seem distant or uninterested, this is a dream come true. He feels like he has found something rare, someone who genuinely loves and cares for him without making him fight for her attention. He starts to think that dating in the Philippines is exactly what he has been searching for his whole life. But here is the question, is this really as simple as it seems? Or are there hidden realities that many foreigners fail to see? At first, everything is perfect. She is always happy, always affectionate, always putting him first. He enjoys how easy things feel. But as time passes, small things start to change. She starts asking more questions, where he is going, who he is with, what time he will be home. At first, it feels sweet, like she just cares about him. But as time goes on, he notices that she gets upset when he does not respond to her messages immediately. If he talks to another woman, even casually, she asks a lot of questions. If he wants to spend time alone, she wonders if something is wrong. Then, there is her family. In the beginning, he loves how close she is to them. He thinks it is beautiful how much she respects and supports them. But soon, he realizes that her family is not just important to her, they are a part of their relationship. She discusses everything with them. If they have an argument, her mother or sister might know about it. If she wants something in the relationship, she considers how her family will feel about it. He starts to feel like he is not just dating her, he is dating her entire family. Then, financial expectations start appearing. At first, she never asked for anything, and he appreciated that. But slowly, she starts mentioning her family struggles, and her younger siblings' school fees, her parents' medical bills, her family's daily expenses. She does not ask for money directly, but the hints are there. She talks about these things in a way that makes him feel like he should offer to help. And so, he does. He loves her, and he wants to see her happy. At first, it is just small amounts. He pays for dinner, helps with rent, maybe even gives a little extra for a small family expense. But then, the requests continue. What started as an occasional favor turns into a routine. He starts to feel like he is expected to provide, not just for her, but for her entire family. He begins to wonder, does she love him for who he is, or for what he can give? At the same time, jealousy starts to grow. In the beginning, she was just sweet and attentive. But now, it feels different. She does not like it when he spends time alone. She does not want him talking to other women, even in a friendly way. She wants to know where he is all the time. What once felt like deep love now starts to feel like control. For some men, this is where they start to feel overwhelmed. They realize that they entered a relationship without fully understanding what it meant. They thought love in the Philippines was easy, but now they see that love here comes with responsibilities. They feel pressure to provide. They feel like they always have to reassure their Filipina that they love her. They feel like they have lost some of their freedom. For those who marry quickly, things can become even more complicated. Many foreigners believe that getting married will make their relationship even stronger. But in the Philippines, marriage is almost permanent. Divorce does not exist, and annulments are difficult and expensive. If a foreigner marries a Filipina without fully understanding the expectations, he may find himself in a situation where he feels trapped. Some men stay in unhappy marriages because they feel guilty about leaving. Others try to leave but realize that separating is not as easy as they thought. But not every relationship ends this way. Some foreigners take their time. They ask the right questions early in the relationship. They discuss money and family expectations before making any commitments. They do not rush into marriage just because everything feels good in the beginning. They set boundaries, making sure their Filipina loves them for who they are, not for what they can provide. The foreigners who succeed in relationships with Filipinas are the ones who approach love with both heart and mind. They respect her culture, but they also make sure their own needs are met. They build relationships based on trust, communication, and shared values. So, why are so many men choosing Filipinas for relationships? Because love here is real, but only if you understand what you are getting into. If you set realistic expectations, communicate openly, and are ready for both the good and the challenges, you can find a relationship that is truly fulfilling. But if you rush in, believing only in the fantasy, you might find yourself facing problems you never expected. Before taking this step, ask yourself, do I truly understand what this relationship involves? Have I talked to her about finances, family, and the future? Am I making this decision with a clear mind, or am I just caught up in emotions? If your answer is yes, then dating a Filipina can be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. But if you have doubts, take your time. True love is never in a hurry. The best relationships are built on trust, understanding, and shared values. If you enter with both your heart and your mind open, you may just find the love of a lifetime. In the West, dating has become complicated. Many men feel unappreciated, unwanted, or frustrated with modern dating culture. Then, they hear about Filipinas, women who are known for being affectionate, respectful, and devoted to their partners. They imagine a relationship without mind games, without complications, just pure love and commitment. They believe that here, they will finally find the kind of relationship they have always wanted. For many foreign men, dating in their home countries has become exhausting. Women seem distant, distracted, or constantly testing them. Relationships feel like a competition, where men have to prove themselves over and over just to be appreciated. Some men feel like no matter what they do, it is never enough. They hear stories of failed marriages, expensive divorces, and relationships that end over small disagreements. They see a dating culture where traditional roles are fading, where love feels like a transaction, and where loyalty is no longer guaranteed. Then, they discover the Philippines. They read stories, watch videos, or hear from other men who have found love here. They learn that Filipinas are different, family-oriented, caring, and deeply committed to relationships. Unlike in the West, where independence and self-sufficiency are emphasized, in the Philippines, relationships are built on partnership. Women here take pride in taking care of their man, in supporting him, in being his partner in every sense. Excited by this idea, many foreigners book a flight, eager to see if what they have heard is true. And when they arrive, it feels like they have entered another world. Everywhere they go, they see smiling faces. People are warm, welcoming, and genuinely interested in talking to them. Filipinas are friendly, respectful, and make them feel like they are valued. Unlike in their home countries, where they often felt ignored, here, women seem to appreciate their presence. Then, they meet a Filipina who changes everything. She is sweet, affectionate, and loving. From the beginning, she calls him love or honey. She checks on him constantly, making sure he has eaten, slept well, and is feeling okay. She holds his hand in public, she prepares his favorite meals, and she makes him feel like the most important man in the world. She does not play hard to get, she is direct with her feelings, expressing love and care in a way he has never experienced before. For a foreign man who is used to complicated dating dynamics, this feels like a dream. He no longer has to chase, to prove himself, or to guess what she is thinking. She is open about her emotions. She wants to be with him. She makes him feel wanted, needed, and appreciated. He starts to believe that he has found something truly special. The relationship moves quickly. She talks about their future together, about building a life, about having a family. She introduces him to her parents, her siblings, and her closest friends. He is welcomed with open arms. Unlike in the West, where meeting the family can be a big step that takes time, here, it happens naturally, almost immediately. Her family is happy to meet him, they invite him for meals, and they treat him as one of their own. At first, he loves this. He enjoys the warmth of Filipino culture, the strong family bonds, the way everything feels so real and sincere. But soon, he starts to notice things he did not expect. She asks him where he is going, what he is doing, and who he is with. At first, it seems like she just cares about him. But over time, he realizes that she needs constant reassurance. If he does not reply to her messages quickly, she becomes upset. If he talks to another woman, even in a casual way, she asks too many questions. Her love, which once felt like complete devotion, now starts to feel like possessiveness. Then, there is her family. He starts to see that their opinion matters just as much as hers. If they do not approve of something, she listens to them. If they suggest something, she considers it carefully. What he thought was just a strong family bond now feels like an outside influence on their relationship. Slowly, financial expectations begin to appear. She never asks for money directly, but she talks about her family struggles, her younger siblings' school fees, her mother's medical bills, the financial difficulties they face. She never says, "Can you help?" but the hints are there. She looks at him with hopeful eyes, waiting for him to offer. He does not want to disappoint her, so he helps. At first, it is just small amounts. He covers small expenses, thinking it's no big deal. But then, the requests continue. He starts to feel like he is expected to provide, not just for her, but for her entire family. He begins to wonder, does she love him for who he is, or for what he can give? As time passes, he notices that her jealousy is getting stronger. She does not like it when he spends time alone. She wants to know his every move. She expects him to prioritize their relationship above everything else. What once felt like deep love now starts to feel like control. For some men, this is when they start to feel overwhelmed. They realize that they entered a relationship without fully understanding what it meant. They thought love in the Philippines was easy, but now they see that love here comes with responsibilities. They feel pressure to provide. They feel like they always have to reassure their Filipina that they love her. They feel like they have lost some of their freedom. For those who marry quickly, the situation becomes even more complicated. Many foreigners believe that getting married will make their relationship stronger. But in the Philippines, marriage is almost permanent. Divorce does not exist, and annulments are difficult and expensive. If a foreigner marries a Filipina without fully understanding the expectations, he may find himself in a situation where he feels trapped. Some men stay in unhappy marriages because they feel guilty about leaving. Others try to leave but realize that separating is not as easy as they thought. But not every relationship ends this way. Some foreigners take their time. They ask the right questions early in the relationship. They discuss money and family expectations before making any commitments. They do not rush into marriage just because everything feels good in the beginning. They set boundaries, making sure their Filipina loves them for who they are, not for what they can provide. The foreigners who succeed in relationships with Filipinas are the ones who approach love with both heart and mind. They respect her culture, but they also make sure their own needs are met. They build relationships based on trust, communication, and shared values. So, is dating a Filipina the solution to all the frustrations of Western dating? The truth is, it can be, but only if you understand what you are getting into. If you set realistic expectations, communicate openly, and are ready for both the good and the challenges, you can find a relationship that is truly fulfilling. But if you rush in, believing only in the fantasy, you might find yourself facing problems you never expected. Before taking this step, ask yourself, do I truly understand what this relationship involves? Have I talked to her about finances, family, and the future? Am I making this decision with a clear mind, or am I just caught up in emotions? If your answer is yes, then dating a Filipina can be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. But if you have doubts, take your time. True love is never in a hurry. The best relationships are built on trust, understanding, and shared values. If you enter with both your heart and your mind open, you may just find the love of a lifetime. At first, everything feels perfect. She calls you love, she takes care of you, and she makes you feel important. But as time goes on, you start noticing things you didn't expect. She wants to spend all her time with you, she gets jealous easily, and her family plays a big role in your relationship. Then, financial discussions start happening. She might never ask for money directly, but the hints are there: her younger siblings' school fees, her parents' medical bills. What once felt like a dream now comes with responsibilities. Are you ready for that? In the beginning, you don't see these things as problems. You feel lucky to have found a woman who truly cares about you. She treats you better than anyone you have ever dated before. She wakes up early to prepare your breakfast, she checks on you throughout the day, and she makes you feel like the center of her world. Unlike in your home country, where relationships often feel like a struggle, here everything seems easy. There are no games, no guessing, just pure love and affection. But love is never just about the good moments. It is also about how you handle challenges together. And in a relationship with a Filipina, challenges do not always come in obvious ways. They start as small things, things that seem harmless at first. It begins with how much time she wants to spend with you. In Western relationships, couples often value personal space. There is an understanding that both partners need time for themselves, to see friends, to focus on hobbies, or just to be alone. But in the Philippines, love is different. When a Filipina loves you, she wants to be with you all the time. At first, this feels wonderful. She is always available, always interested, always willing to be with you. But over time, you may begin to feel that you have no space, no time for yourself. If you tell her you want to spend time alone, she might feel hurt. She may not understand why you want to do things without her. She may think that if you love her, you should want to be with her every moment. Then, there's jealousy. At first, her jealousy feels sweet. She asks little questions: who are you talking to? Or, where did you go today? It makes you feel like she really cares. But as time passes, the questions become more frequent. If you take too long to reply to her messages, she gets upset. If she sees you talking to another woman, even in a completely innocent way, she questions you. If you tell her you are meeting up with friends, she asks why she is not invited. At first, you try to reassure her. You tell her she has nothing to worry about. But no matter how much you reassure her, it never seems to be enough. She still gets jealous, still questions you, still wants constant proof that you love her. What started as sweet devotion now begins to feel like insecurity and control. And then, there is her family. In the West, relationships are often just between two people. But in the Philippines, family is everything. If you date a Filipina, you are not just dating her, you are becoming part of her entire family. Her parents, her siblings, even her extended relatives all play a role in her life. At first, this seems beautiful. Her family welcomes you with open arms, they invite you to dinners, and they treat you like one of their own. But soon, you realize that their involvement in your relationship is much bigger than you expected. She shares everything with them, your plans, your problems, even your arguments. If you and your Filipina have a disagreement, her mother or sister may know about it before you even have a chance to talk things through. They may give their opinion, offer advice, or even pressure her to act in a certain way. And because family is so important in Filipino culture, she listens to them. At first, you think this is just part of the culture. You don't mind that she is close to her family. But then, financial discussions begin. She never directly asks for money, but she starts mentioning her family's struggles. Her younger sibling might need school fees. Her father might be sick and unable to work. Her mother might have unpaid medical bills. She never says, "Can you help?" Instead, she tells these stories in a way that makes you feel like you should offer. And so, you do. You love her. You don't want her to be stressed or worried. You give a little to help with school fees, a little more to cover medical bills. She thanks you, she tells you how much she appreciates you, and she assures you that she never expected you to help. But then, another request comes. And another. What started as small favors turns into something more. Slowly, you realize that you are now financially supporting not just your Filipina, but also her family. The more you give, the more it becomes expected. And if you ever say no, she looks hurt. She becomes quiet, distant. She does not argue, she does not demand, but she makes you feel guilty for not helping. At this point, many foreigners start to feel pressure. They love their Filipina, but they also feel like they are losing control. They feel like their relationship is no longer just about love, it is about responsibility. And if they are not careful, they may find themselves in a situation where they feel more like a provider than a partner. For those who marry too quickly, the situation becomes even more complicated. Many foreigners believe that marriage will make their relationship stronger. But in the Philippines, marriage is almost permanent. Divorce does not exist, and annulments are expensive and difficult. If a foreigner marries a Filipina without fully understanding the expectations, he may find himself trapped in a situation he never anticipated. Some men stay in unhappy marriages because they feel guilty about leaving. Others realize too late that separating is not as easy as they thought. They love their Filipina, but they also feel overwhelmed by the financial and emotional weight of the relationship. But not all relationships end this way. Some foreigners take their time. They observe before making big commitments. They talk about finances early in the relationship. They set boundaries and make sure their Filipina loves them for who they are, not just for what they can provide. The foreigners who succeed in relationships with Filipinas are the ones who approach love with both heart and mind. They respect her culture, but they also make sure their own needs are met. They communicate openly, they set expectations, and they do not rush into marriage or financial commitments. So, is love in the Philippines a dream or a responsibility? The truth is, it can be both. Love here is real, deep, and passionate. But it also comes with expectations that may be different from what you are used to. Before taking the next step in your relationship, ask yourself, am I truly prepared for the reality of dating a Filipina? Have we talked about money, family, and long-term expectations? Am I making this decision with a clear mind, or am I just caught up in emotions? If you can answer yes to these questions, then you may have found something truly special. But if you have doubts, take your time. True love is never rushed. The strongest relationships are built on trust, understanding, and shared values. If you enter with both your heart and your mind open, you may just find the love of a lifetime. Some men rush into marriage or move in too quickly, thinking that love is enough. But then, reality hits. They realize that their Filipina expects things they never talk about, whether it's supporting her family or adjusting to her way of thinking. Some feel pressured, some feel trapped. In the worst cases, men realize too late that they made a commitment without fully understanding what it meant. But does this mean love in the Philippines isn't real? Not at all. The difference between success and failure is preparation. At first, everything feels perfect. The love, the affection, the devotion, it all seems so real, so pure. A Filipina makes a man feel special in ways he may have never experienced before. She takes care of him, prioritizes him, and makes him feel like the most important person in her life. Unlike the women he dated in his home country, she does not hesitate to express her love. She calls him love or honey, she constantly checks if he has eaten, and she makes sure he is always happy. It is easy to believe that this is the love story he has always dreamed of. But love, no matter how beautiful it seems at first, is not just about emotions, it is also about reality. And reality has a way of revealing itself over time. What many foreigners fail to understand is that relationships in the Philippines are deeply influenced by culture, family expectations, and financial responsibilities. In the early days, these things may not seem obvious. A Filipina may never ask for anything directly, but that does not mean expectations do not exist. One of the biggest surprises for many foreigners is the role of family in the relationship. In Western culture, relationships are often between two people. The couple makes decisions together, and while family may have some influence, they do not typically control the relationship. But in the Philippines, family is everything. A Filipina's decisions are rarely just her own, they are influenced by her parents, her siblings, and sometimes even extended relatives. At first, a foreigner may think it is sweet how close she is to her family. He may enjoy the big family gatherings, the way everyone looks out for each other, and the strong bond they share. But over time, he starts to see that this closeness comes with responsibilities. A Filipina's family wants to know about his plans. What kind of future does he see with their daughter? What are his intentions? How will he take care of her? They are not just welcoming him into the family, they are also evaluating him. And then, financial discussions begin. It starts subtly. She talks about how life is difficult, how her parents are struggling, how her younger sibling needs school fees. She never asks for money outright, but she shares these problems in a way that makes him feel like he should help. And so, he does. After all, he loves her, and he wants her to be happy. At first, he tells himself it is nothing, just a little help here and there. He pays for dinner, helps cover small expenses, maybe even sends some money for a medical bill. She thanks him, she tells him how much she appreciates it, and she reassures him that she never expected anything from him. But then, the requests keep coming. What started as small favors now feels like a responsibility. He begins to wonder, does she love him for who he is, or for what he can provide? He does not want to believe that money is a factor in their relationship, but he cannot ignore the growing pressure. If he hesitates to help, she becomes quiet, distant. She does not argue, she does not demand, but she makes him feel guilty for saying no. At the same time, jealousy becomes an issue. At first, her attention and possessiveness felt like love. She wanted to know where he was, who he was with, what he was doing. It made him feel important, cared for. But over time, it started to feel like control. If he did not respond to her messages quickly, she got upset. If he spent time alone or with friends, she wanted to know why she was not invited. If he spoke to another woman, even in an innocent way, she asked too many questions. He starts to feel suffocated. He still loves her, but he misses his independence. He misses the freedom to make decisions without having to explain himself. He starts to feel like every part of his life is being monitored. And no matter how much he reassures her, it is never enough. She still doubts, still worries, still needs constant validation. For those who marry too soon, these challenges become even harder to escape. Many foreigners believe that marriage will make their relationship stronger, that it will remove insecurities and bring them even closer. But in the Philippines, marriage is almost permanent. Divorce does not exist, and annulments are difficult, expensive, and time-consuming. If a foreigner marries a Filipina without fully understanding what it means, he may find himself feeling trapped. Some men stay in unhappy marriages because they feel guilty about leaving. Others feel like they have no choice, they do not want to abandon their wife, especially if they have children together. They feel obligated to continue providing support, even when they are emotionally drained. But not all relationships end this way. Some foreigners take their time. They observe before making big commitments. They ask the right questions early. They talk about money and family expectations before they become a problem. They set boundaries and make sure that their Filipina loves them for who they are, not for what they can provide. The foreigners who succeed in relationships with Filipinas are the ones who approach love with both heart and mind. They respect her culture, but they also make sure their own needs are met. They build relationships based on trust, communication, and shared values. So, does this mean love in the Philippines is not real? Not at all. Love here is deep, passionate, and real, but it comes with expectations. It is not always as effortless as some foreigners believe. It is not just a fantasy, it is a real relationship that requires effort, understanding, and preparation. Before making a big commitment, ask yourself, do I truly understand what this relationship involves? Have we talked about finances, family, and long-term expectations? Am I making this decision with a clear mind, or am I just caught up in emotions? If you can answer yes to these questions, then you may have found something truly special. But if you have doubts, take your time. True love is never rushed. The strongest relationships are built on trust, understanding, and shared values. If you enter with both your heart and your mind open, you may just find the love of a lifetime. So, why are so many men choosing Filipinas for dating? Because love here is real, but only if you approach it with an open mind and realistic expectations. If you understand her culture, communicate openly, and are ready for the responsibilities that come with it, you can find a love that lasts a lifetime. But if you rush in blindly, believing only in the fantasy, you might find yourself facing challenges you never expected. So, before you take this step, ask yourself, are you truly ready for love in the Philippines? For many foreign men, love in their home country feels complicated. They experience dating cultures where women seem less affectionate, more independent, and less interested in long-term relationships. Some men feel like relationships have become a constant game of proving their worth. They feel unappreciated, unwanted, or unsure if the woman they are dating is truly committed to them. Then, they hear about Filipinas, women who are known for being loyal, caring, and deeply devoted to their partners. They read stories, watch videos, and hear first-hand experiences from men who say they have found the love of their lives in the Philippines. When they finally arrive, it feels like a completely different world. Women are friendly, smiling, and genuinely interested in them. Filipinas are affectionate, expressive, and open with their feelings. Unlike in the West, where a man may struggle to get a woman's attention, here, women approach him, engage in conversation, and make him feel special. Dating feels easy, effortless, and natural. Then, he meets a Filipina who makes him feel like the most important person in her life. She calls him pet names, sends sweet messages throughout the day, and always wants to be with him. She takes care of him, making sure he eats well, dresses properly, and feels comfortable. She expresses love in ways he never experienced before. She makes him believe that he has finally found something pure, something real. At first, everything is perfect. She prioritizes him above everything else. She introduces him to her family, proudly showing him off as her boyfriend. Her parents welcome him with warmth, and her siblings treat him as part of the family. Unlike in his home country, where meeting the family might take months or even years, here, it happens quickly. Filipinas believe that relationships should be serious, and if she introduces a man to her family, it means she sees a future with him. It all feels wonderful, but love is never just about the happy moments. As time goes on, reality starts to reveal itself. The first signs are small. She wants to spend more time with him. She becomes jealous when he talks to other women. She asks more questions about his whereabouts. At first, it seems like she just loves him deeply, but slowly, he starts feeling like he is losing some of his freedom. Then, there is her family. While he admired her strong connection to them in the beginning, he now realizes that their involvement in her life is much bigger than he expected. Her family plays a major role in decision-making, and their opinions matter. If her parents do not approve of something, she listens to them. If her siblings need help, she feels responsible. And sometimes, she expects him to be part of that responsibility. Financial discussions begin to arise. She never asks for money directly, but she mentions her family's struggles. Her younger siblings' school fees, her father's medical bills, her mother's daily expenses, these topics come up more often. She does not demand anything, but she tells these stories in a way that makes him feel like he should help. At first, he does. It is just a little money, nothing big. But over time, the requests continue. He starts to wonder if this is part of being in a relationship with a Filipina. Is he expected to take care of her family? Is this love, or is it an obligation? He does not want to think she is using him, but the financial expectations make him question things. He sees other foreign men in similar situations, some happily providing, others feeling trapped. At the same time, jealousy becomes stronger. She asks him to always update her on where he is and who he is with. If he takes too long to respond to her messages, she becomes upset. If he wants to go out alone or with friends, she wonders why she is not invited. He feels like he has to explain himself all the time. What started as sweet devotion now feels like insecurity and control. For some men, this is when they start to feel pressure. They love their Filipina, but they also feel like their relationship has more responsibilities than they expected. They see their time, their freedom, and their money being shared in ways they never planned for. If they are not careful, they might feel like they have lost control of their own life. For those who marry too soon, the situation can become even more complicated. Some men believe that getting married will make everything better, that it will make her feel more secure and remove any doubts. But in the Philippines, marriage is a lifelong commitment. Divorce does not exist, and annulments are difficult. If a foreigner marries a Filipina without fully understanding what that commitment means, he may find himself feeling stuck. Some men stay in unhappy marriages because they feel guilty about leaving. Others realize too late that separating is not as easy as they thought. They love their wife, but they also feel burdened by expectations they never agreed to. But not every relationship ends this way. Some foreigners take their time. They do not rush into love just because it feels good in the beginning. They ask the right questions early in the relationship. They talk about finances, family expectations, and future plans before making any commitments. They set boundaries, making sure that their Filipina loves them for who they are, not for what they can provide. The foreigners who succeed in relationships with Filipinas are the ones who approach love with both heart and mind. They respect her culture but also make sure their own needs are met. They build relationships based on trust, communication, and mutual understanding. So, why are so many men choosing Filipinas for dating? Because love here is real, but only for those who are prepared for what it truly means. It is not just about romance, passion, or affection. It is about commitment, responsibility, and cultural understanding. It is about knowing that love in the Philippines comes with family involvement, financial discussions, and a different way of thinking about relationships. Before taking this step, ask yourself, do I truly understand what I am getting into? Have I discussed money, family expectations, and long-term plans with her? Am I making this decision based on reality, or am I just caught up in emotions? If your answer is yes, then dating a Filipina can be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. But if you have doubts, take your time. True love is never rushed. The best relationships are built on trust, understanding, and shared values. If you enter with both your heart and your mind open, you may just find the love of a lifetime.